Welcome back, guys. I hope you all had a great Christmas. In this video, I'm beginning construction on a lumber storage shed. This is something that I've wanted to do for a while, and I'm going to be building it in the same area that I have my sawmill set up in. One of the things that I have realized is that I think the area I have already cleared out is big enough for the sawmill and to bring logs in and cut them up, but I've noticed that once I start stacking piles of lumber in that the area gets small really quickly. So I wanted to clear out a little bit of a different area to build this shed on so that it wasn't getting in the way. And also this trail that I'm on there with the side-by-side, it goes right through back into the woods, so I didn't want it to be on that trail at all. So the area I'm cleaning is just to get the shed back off that trail a little bit. And as usually what happens when I leave the gate open, I end up with a little bit of company. You're not allowed in here, girl. Off limits to you, girl. Come on. Come on. Let's go. I always think that I'm gonna get away with leaving the gate open, but more times than not, they want to come in and see what's going on. They're definitely a curious animal. But anyways, it doesn't take me too long. Most of the trees in this area I chose, and the reason I chose it was because they're all small trees with the exception of one tree that's a bit bigger. It's a spruce tree. You can see me cutting it down here now. I left it till the end. It was a bit bigger, so I wanted to leave it to the end because I'm just going to leave it in here at the sawmill. If nothing else, I can probably get quite a few 2x4s out of it, so nothing wasted, except I guess maybe those little wee cedar trees that I drug out, but they're so thick in here, I don't think thinning them out a bit hurts at all. I did hem and haw and debate on how I was going to build this building, whether I wanted to go to the trouble of digging holes and burying the posts below the frost line. It is just a shed for storing lumber, so I didn't want to go to all that trouble. I'm building this within the parameters that I don't need a building permit for where I am, so I'm just going to be setting this posts on these 12 by 12 patio slabs, and if it heaves a little bit here and there and doesn't stay perfectly level and whatnot, I'm not going to be too worried about it, because as I said, the only purpose this is going to have is just to store lumber in, something kind of nice. I'm going to be using it specifically for hardwood, so I wanted something a little substantial so that I could just put some hardwood in there for a year or two and just forget about it. Of course, once I lay my slabs out, I noticed some of these stumps are kind of sticking up in the way, so just saw them off, and after that I think I've got my base, if you will, fairly cleared out, good to go, and I can get ready for the posts. Not what a lot of people would consider a precision tool for construction, but when you're back in the bush and you don't have a source of electricity, if you take your time, you can actually do a pretty decent job with a chainsaw. I did want to come up with a plan so that I did not have to stand each of these posts up and brace them individually. So the plan that I settled on was to cut my strapping and actually strap the front and back together on the ground. Now, I already know that this isn't going to end up perfectly level, but I'd rather just take the strapping off and re-level it once I have all these posts standing up, so that I can actually lift 2 at a time, and that should get me standing up and keeping it square a lot quicker. What I should have done from the start was put at least 2 pieces of the strapping. I don't know why I thought that one was going to be enough. These posts are a lot heavier than they might look like, and at this point I should have just known that this wasn't working out too well. You can just see that the post twisting and not staying together. I guess I'm kind of stubborn and just thought that I could make it work like that, but I pretty quickly realized that it's just not happening. So I get this back down on the ground and add another row of strapping so that there's 2 rows kind of holding it from twisting or turning. Now once I get the second row of strapping on, it definitely solidifies them a lot more, and as you'll probably see when I'm lifting this up, it just made a world of difference and kept these 2 posts a lot more sturdy as I stood them up, and just made my life a whole lot easier. So I should have done that from the start, but live and learn. This whole process of standing these posts up is probably an area where 2 people really would have excelled, but I like doing things myself, and if there's a will, there's a way. So it's a bit of a stretch to get my brace up there, but eventually I get it tacked on and get my first 2 posts standing upright, and once you figure out how to do the first one, the second one seems to go a lot quicker. So once I get it stood up, I kind of just roughly look at my level to get them, just roughly level. I know that just with the one brace on, the posts are pretty flimsy at this point, but I want to get it just kind of close if I can. So once I get all the other posts stood up, that once I start attaching all my strapping and bracing to all the posts, just having them close to level will make the rest of the process go a lot quicker. And if you're wondering, the post on the right side, that's going to be the front of the building, and the post on the left's going to end up being the back. Now, I've cut all the posts the same height to begin with, and once I have them all standing up, I will kind of level them across the front as high as possible, which should end up around 8 feet. And then I'll do the same thing on the back, except that it will be a bit lower, maybe something like 6 feet, so that will give me a sloped roof towards the back. And like I was saying before, now that I've done the one side, I know exactly how to do it, what works best for me for a single person trying to do this. So the second one goes quite a bit quicker, and I get that all leveled up as close as possible for now. So that gives me my 4 corner posts standing. There's also going to be one in the middle at the back and one in the middle at the front. So I start by putting the one in the middle at the back up, and figure I'd use a bit of a similar strategy, although it should, fingers crossed, should be a bit easier because I already have some posts standing up that I can attach this to. So I tack my piece of strapping on, as you see, stand the post up, and my plan is to just simply put the piece of strapping over to the corner post, and then I'll also put one brace down to the ground just to get this standing up for now. So I end up concentrating a little bit too much on trying to get the one end lined up, and over she goes. So live and learn again for me. I will stand that up and try not to let it happen again. Like I was saying earlier, this would definitely be the one part of the build on this building that would probably be nice to have another set of hands, but I like learning how to do things by myself. And you know, it's not a big deal. I can just stand it back up again and give it another try, and this time maybe I've learnt my lesson and won't let it happen again. I know that if I can just get a nail in here, I'll be good to go. And it's going over, but I got it. So I don't know if you want to argue if I've learned my lesson there or not, but I definitely caught it that time, and I end up getting my nail in, and that should hold it up until I can get my brace into the ground at least. And as soon as I get the center post braced into the ground, I set to measuring and cutting the remaining strapping that I need to get along the back there. I want to get the strapping around the back and the two sides so that I have a good idea of what level is all the way around and get it kind of squared up before I go to putting the front post in. It takes a little bit of work because, as you can imagine, the ground isn't perfectly level, and when I put the strapping on the two sides, I kind of just measured up the same distance from the bottom, and now that I can figure out what actual level is, I can adjust it and connect it all up so that it looks like that. And that is actually where I am going to leave it for today. And I'm excited for the next few videos as I work towards completing this lumber shed. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I hope to see you in the next video.